Hello, I'm Craig and welcome to another episode of Football Kit Memories. Today I meet comedian, podcaster and very good friend of mine, Eray. Eray and I worked together for a long time, but I've always been interested to talk to him in depth about the many successful social media side projects he runs. We talk about his comedy memes, his retro film podcast and the different ways he's found success across the various platforms. During the show I asked Eray to pick out 3 of his favourite football shirts and tell me a little bit about what they mean to him. There's a turkey shirt from a special match at Wembley, the famous third place winning shirt from the 2002 World Cup, and a commemorative West Ham shirt last worn at the Boleyn Ground. You can listen to this and other episodes of Football Kit Memories on all major audio platforms including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please do remember to like, subscribe, share and above all, enjoy the podcast. Okay, so today on the podcast, I'm joined by a comedian and fellow podcaster and very good friend of mine. It's Eray. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Mate, I'm really glad we finally arranged this. It's been desperate time.
Oh, I know. It's been a while, but I'm glad we finally got into it.
Lovely stuff, mate. Lovely stuff. So, do you want to give us a bit of background on you? Tell us a bit about what you do.
Yeah, of course. So as you mentioned in the lovely intro, my name is Eray. So I'm a bit of an online comedian where I make kind of comedy sketches across kind of different social media platforms. I've been doing that for about 2 years now. And it's just a passion point of mine. It started off as a hobby and it just sort of, I started getting recognition for it and it started growing and it just kind of grew from there. So now it's kind of on Instagram, Facebook and now TikTok, which I'm seeing the most growth on. So I've been doing that. Well, I'd say before it was my spare time, but now it's pretty much almost my whole time because of the current events of the world, as well as kind of making the comedy sketches and the videos. I also do a film podcast that I do weekly with a friend of mine, just kind of re-reviewing. Well, originally it was reviewing new films. However, there isn't many to review. So we've been looking back. Exactly. So I think Tenet was the only...
The Crown on Netflix.
Exactly. Episode 17 of season 2. It was a corker. But no, so we kind of like made a decision early on in beginning of 2020 when it all kind of locked down, was like, well, let's just go back to 80s and 90s movies because that's our kind of niche, that's our forte, that's what we love. And we just found ourselves just like getting into it and just doing it every week or month and, you know, kind of really getting into talking about these kind of classic like Predator or even, you know, Dark Knight Rises trilogy, just films that we love. And essentially it's just 2 guys chatting about films.
I really enjoy that one, mate. So that's the Sultans of Charisma, that's called, right?
It is indeed. Thank you. Yes, thank you for the name check. And Sultans of Charisma.
That stuff out. Don't worry.
There he goes. There you go. You're a professional.
So what about the comedy stuff? What are they called?
So my comedy profile is Eray Bay. So it's Eray, E-R-A-Y, and then B-E-Y-I.
Right.
So the name came out of it. Basically, Bey in Turkish is Mr. Which is quite interesting because, there you go, little nugget for you. But then when I was registering it, it was going to be Eray Bay. But then when I went to register it on Facebook, there was somebody already with that name. So I thought, well, let's just add an extra letter on the name. Don't matter. Still sounds the same. That was literally how it kind of happened. But the whole kind of thing came about because basically about 5-6 years ago, I set up a meme page. This is right as meme culture kind of exploded onto the scene. And it was... What happened was I was making memes and sending them to mates and it was kind of like themed around Turkish humor and kind of Turkish comedy.
Right.
And then I noticed that everyone was getting a few laughs. So I thought, well, you know what? Let me just put this on Facebook and see what happens. And it just started building and like the audience just kept growing and growing and growing. It got into like the hundreds. I was like, okay, I'm onto something here. Then it got into the thousands. And then, you know, currently as it stands, it's on 39,000 followers on Facebook. Yeah, exactly. And I launched the Instagram quite late, but that's currently on 12,000 followers.
Right.
And it kind of, and I think it evolved more into kind of just sharing funny videos and, you know, sketches that I see online. And then I had kind of content creators emailing me, like messaging me saying, can you share my video? And I thought, oh, this is quite interesting. Like, I just thought I got loads of ideas. Yeah. And I've always been a bit like, oh, I don't know, maybe I've always been like a faceless person with the meme page. It's always been like, I just put a meme out there. It's not me. See what happens. And I thought, well, do you know what? Let's just give it a go. Let's just do a sketch and put it out there and see what happens. So I did a sketch and it's basically types of people you find at a Turkish wedding, types of dancers you find at a Turkish wedding.
Right.
Stuck it up there. A week later, it was on 170,000 views.
Wow.
And I was like, I think I'm onto something here. And then it was someone that at the time that I worked with, a client who was Indian, he actually messaged me, he tagged me in it and went, Eray, this is you. Like, what? Because I didn't even share it on my own profile. I just kind of put it out there and I wanted to see how far it would go. And it went, but I thought, well, I'm onto something here. Right, let me just give it a shot. Just set up a profile, comedy profile.
Yeah.
Set with my name and just go for it. So I've had all these ideas for sketches. I've always made ideas in my notes section of my iPhone for years. So I was like, let's just put this all out there. Did the next one, and that was like a few thousand views. I was like, okay, this is growing now. This is like, so I almost built a content sharing platform for me. And then I've got my comedy thing, so I can make the sketches and then share it out on that platform. Wow. So it's almost like a full service kind of thing. And so obviously the sketches, it started off with a Turkish twist to it to kind of for that audience, but then I kind of just wanted to evolve it more and broaden the horizons of it. So Eray Bay has become just almost, you know, a comedy page that it deals with all types of humor, where it's talking about parents with kids. It's, you know, I've even done a bit of football banter as well. Hasn't been received as well, but you know, I still keep banging on about it. Still keep trying, mate.
Change.
Yeah, nice to segue back into the podcast, mate. But yeah, so but I've done a few football ones as well. But and it's fascinating. I just love like kind of delving into it and how different platforms are different, and how they, you know, the audience reacts differently, and and you see when you get that little buzz of something going, like the likes and views clocking up, it's just like, oh my god, like it's received well, because you're essentially putting your heart out there. This is an idea that's come from your head.
Definitely.
You in your head, you think it's funny, and you're bearing your soul out there. It's your art essentially, and it's like, I hope it does well, and you see it doing well, and it's great. Obviously, there are, again, you got to get thick skin, because sometimes you put stuff out there and it just bombs, and you're like, oh, do you know what? I've got to say I'm quite lucky that I haven't been trolled that much.
Right.
I've been trolled once on Facebook by this guy. And it was like a case of every video I put up, he'd put this like a GIF of a guy just rolling his eyes. So it was like, it was the same GIF every time. Okay. But my comeback to him was, yeah, I agree with you, mate. This guy's rubbish, mate. He needs to get on with himself. Like, I let you just join in with the conversation, and then he'd be like, yeah, it's not funny. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I agree, mate. Someone needs to tell him to get a job, mate. He needs to give up on it. And I think over time, the guy just kind of just gave into it, like, and accepted, started using smiley emojis and stuff like that, just gave into it. Because I was like, that's the only way you can battle them, because you do get an occasional kind of in your inbox. I had a guy on my Facebook page about a couple of months ago, because on Facebook, you can like recommend a page, like give it 5 stars because you recommend it. Okay. He didn't recommend it because he put, not funny, don't give up your day job.
Right.
Little for him did he know that I didn't have a day job at the time, so joke was on him. But so I then shared it. I just shared it on the page and was like, guys, this guy, I can't remember his name, I was like, he's just said that I should give up. So it's happening, guys. I'm sorry. All your likes and comments are no good anymore. And then he was like, oh, leave me alone. I'm like, you're the one writing on my page. Yeah. And then he just blocked me.
But why do people take the time to do that? I don't understand.
Exactly. This is what I don't say, because it's like, if you don't find something funny, just move on. If you don't like a podcast, you don't listen to it anymore.
Scroll on.
Exactly. That's my thing. And it's kind of like, in the world we're in at the moment, like, and I've had countless messages from people just going, thanks for that video. That has really brightened up my day. And essentially that's essentially what people have been saying to me. And it feels good that, you know, all my comedy I'm putting out there, not everyone might not like it, but the people that do like it, for them, it just lifts their mood for the day. It's like, it's a bit medicine, because in the last year and a half, we've had a lot of bad, negative news, bad news, sad news. So if I can give someone a couple of minutes just to giggle or chuckle, just for a couple of minutes, mate, my job's done. I feel like I'm a happy man. I go to bed, sleep well at night, knowing that someone's found it funny.
That's nice, mate.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. So, mate, out of all of those platforms that you're on and you're using, which is your favourite?
So, I mean, it's weird because it does change. So when I first started, it was Facebook, because I'd seen so much success with Facebook through my meme page, and then when I share my videos on my meme page, that would get like views and it'd go great. As I got into Instagram more, I started moving over to Instagram. I started doing more vertical videos, because that was what for the Instagram feed and for stories. Right. That's where I kind of find myself on the Instagram stories, doing like just daily videos, just impressions. Yeah. Some of them are ropey. I look back at some of them and I'm like, wow, did I really just put that out there? But do it. Let's just do it. Just verbal comedy diarrhea, I call it.
Get it out there.
Just chuck it out there. Just chuck it out there, because something might stick. And that's, I'll come on to that actually, how I kind of came up with one of my characters literally from Instagram stories. So I basically, so again, I have this kind of character that started off as a Turkish mum, and that the whole sketch was around this Turkish mum doing funny things. But as it evolved, it just became a standard mum. It didn't matter where she was from. It didn't matter about it. It just became like a Cockney mum.
Yeah.
And then what I did was an Instagram Q&A one night as her in character with a wig, everything. So literally it was like, hello, babes, you all right? Come and ask. I literally just had a wig to put on. So I'll be sitting there watching TV with the missus and I'll be like, right, let me just nip in the other room. She's like, oh, rolling her eyes. I've just got to put the wig on.
It, right?
And I'm like, hello, babes. Yeah, got a question for me. Like, and I'd answer the question, take the wig off, go back to watching TV. Come back. But what I found through that is people asking me questions. I was able to almost develop the character even more.
Yeah.
Because they're asking like, oh, where are you from? Like, how did you get your hair looking like that? And I just found comedy nuggets that then went further with different sketches. Yeah. So Instagram was able to kind of almost build out these characters in more detail. But then now TikTok's come along and I've just seen that the growth that I'm getting from TikTok is like nothing I've seen before. So I'm currently on 4,000 followers on TikTok.
Right.
Some of my videos have just gone mental. Like I've had one video that's had 500,000 views.
Holy shit.
Another one I did last week has had, I think it's 150,000. I've had one that's on 200,000. I mean, I'm making it sound greater than it is. I always have some videos that have like 20 views, but still, TikTok is all about that. It nurtures that creativity and it really jumps on creativity. And if something bangs and it clicks and it hits a chord, I think it shows, and it keeps showing it to more people. And I'm still getting views now for videos that I did about 3-4 months ago.
But how do people... Because I set up an account right in the summer and I opened it once and it just blew my mind. And like we're men of a similar age, right? And I feel like TikTok is for males and females of a much younger age than us. How have you made a success of it?
So I think people our age as well, the hesitation to begin with is, oh my God, it's just a bunch of young kids dancing. I'm going to look at crap dancing around. I have since actually started doing videos of me just dancing around as well. Actually, funny enough, I've jumped on a bandwagon, mate. I've done it. But I do a thing. It's just called like just dancing to garage music. It's like just the garage vibe. I call it the gun finger salute. Like, so like I'm standing in the kitchen and I pull out, like open the fridge and I just pull out basically my gun fingers and I just start garage vibing. Some of them done well, some of them haven't done as well, but we'll keep moving with that one. Yeah. But I think, so it's like you got to get into it a bit more and understand the kind of ins and outs of it. Because once you get there, are some amazing comedians on there that are doing some great stuff. There's chefs that are doing kind of, and it's all confined within that 60 seconds, and it's got to get someone's attention and get them hooked in. But I find people nurture. If people like your video, they actually take active time to comment and want to see you do well. Yeah. So I always get comments of people going, this video needs more views. Like, this video is amazing. Why has it not got more views? Like, whereas I never had that on Instagram. Right. Okay. Or like, so there's a thing called FYP, which is essentially like, you've got a screen that you scroll, but it's not who you're following. It's just essentially curated content. Okay. That's almost like the main feed. So it's not even people that you're following. Essentially, you've got a separate feed for people you're following. So most people just scroll through the For You page, and that is where you get served new videos and new people to kind of see who they are, and that's where things just blow up.
So, mate, shall we talk about some football shirts?
Let's do it. Let's get into it, mate.
Let's do it. So listen, what the first kind of general question is, what, if anything, do football shirts mean to you? Do you buy them? You're a collector? You're an admirer?
I'd say, I probably only in the last couple of years, I've started getting into them a lot more than I used to. Like, I obviously would buy them every year. Obviously, being a West Ham supporter, I'd buy the old kit every season. Well, I'd always wait till sort of halfway through the season, it goes down in sale. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Best way.
Think smart, mate. Think smart.
Yes.
But I think I've probably mixing with you, mate. I think it's got me buying a few more shirts than I should be.
Even just before this, the latest one, aren't I? Unfortunately,
you are indeed, mate. You are, mate. I was so glad because the night before I was looking for that, and it was full price, the Turkey kit for this year. Yeah. And then literally the night before I was looking, I was like, oh, 60 quid. Oh, that's quite a lot. And then literally M&M Direct, mate.
Oof, mate. Never. Never pay full price, I say.
Never pay full price. But yes, I think for me growing up, it's something that I always had in my house. My older brother, I've got an older brother, so he always had like the latest West Ham kits. And then for me, being a younger brother, I couldn't really afford them, but then my brother would have them. So when he didn't wear them, I'd be putting them on and wearing them almost. I'd be like, it's always the second child syndrome, isn't it? Just get them on the hand-me-downs. But it's something that I always loved. And I loved wearing them, especially kind of Turkey kits as well, because it's the country, it's the emblem on the chest and having that piece of almost history that you'd wear with pride. Yeah. So it's something that I've got into in the last few years a lot more and wearing them out a lot more as well, I'd say.
Nice. So, mate, you've picked 3 shirts today, and the first one is
indeed,
actually,
mate.
Yeah, and the first one is actually a Turkey one.
It is.
So it's the Turkey. We had a bit of trouble with this, didn't we? So
we did, mate.
Turkey confused us because they seem to have changed their home colours. They used to have a white home shirt and then a red away shirt, and then they flipped that to Euro 2000, I think.
Exactly. Well, up until us chatting about doing this show, I always thought that this first kit was the home kit. And now thinking about why were they wearing a home kit in a away game?
Yeah, it makes sense now, doesn't it?
Makes sense. Yeah, it does make sense, mate.
Thankfully, somebody's made a handy PDF online and it sorted us out. That is it.
So, God bless the internet.
Exactly. So this is a Turkey 92-93 away shirt by Adidas.
Yep.
And how
it is indeed.
This one, mate?
So I think, I think the name of this podcast says it all, Football Kit Memories. And this kit, just brings back very fond memories for me because I was at the game versus England. It was a cold November evening, 1992. And it was my first ever Turkey game, or Turkish team game even. And it was a friend's dad had got tickets for me, my brother and his son, who was around the same age. And we'd gone to Wembley. And I can remember now the walking up to Wembley and with all the Turkish fans and all the singing and the cheering. And it was this whole new experience to me. Got into the stadium. And again, we lost 4-0, but the whole experience was that the Turkey fans did not stop cheering and chanting. And it was like we were winning. And I just remember, again, I was only sort of 10 or 11, giving away my age there. But I can remember sort of just looking around. One of my memories is less about the actual match, but more about the experience and looking around at all the fans and how, with 4-0 down, any match that I go to 4-0 down, I'm going home as what's the point? But everyone was just cheering like we were still winning. And I think it was just the whole camaraderie of we're here, we're playing England. It's a World Cup qualifier match. And England as well. You think about that had Gaza, Ian Wright, Shearer. There were some big players as well.
Yeah.
So I witnessed that, but I don't remember any of that. All I remember is the cheering and the flags and everyone just talking to each other. And it was everyone was family. And it was just that experience. It was this is a defining moment almost of watching football. And that kit is what is kind of the anchor that brings it all together.
That's nice. Were they kind of people that had travelled? Were they Turkish people in the UK or were people travelling?
It was mainly, everyone I remember that was there was all, from the UK. You probably would get a few that would have come over from Turkey. But again, I'm actually from North Cyprus, so but we don't have a team thanks to international problems. We won't get into that. But so Turkey's always the team that that's a whole different podcast. But Turkey's the team that we kind of always grew up supporting. We still support anyway. But and that's the and this was such a big game. So you had to go to Wembley as well and then watch them play. It was a big thing. So but most of them were all London Turks essentially. So it's you remember standing there, you're chatting to a mate, you see your cousin, you see this person, and it was almost like a social gathering more than an actual football match. Yeah. And that's what kind of was that just sparked that moment to me of oh my God, this is amazing.
So would you consider yourself then a Turkey fan rather than an England fan, perhaps?
Yeah, and I guess I am because I've been growing up, always Turkey, support Turkey, that's their team, blah, blah, blah. But not to say, if England are playing, I will watch that match and, I'll be behind the boys, especially the new team coming through, the younger guy are doing really well. Obviously, Declan Rice, big up the man like Declan. Yeah. But do you know what I mean? But Turkey's always that kind of that's my people, that's my country. Let's root for them. And it's always a thing of I like the underdog, and we always tend to be the underdog.
Yeah. No, mate, that's nice, man. It's good. It's good to have that kind of big kind of heritage and connection with something as well, I think.
Exactly. That's it. And I think, and I remember with that kit, I really wanted the kit after that match. And a family member was going to Turkey. So obviously we asked them to get it for us.
Yeah.
And obviously they did, but they didn't get the genuine article. They got the Turkish replica, genuine replica.
Naughty.
Just not to go near any naked flame, because it will probably incinerate in seconds. And I remember just as a kid still wearing it, but I remember it being quite really hot underneath.
Yeah.
Being that material, that really cheap material. But I don't know where that is now. It's probably in the bin somewhere.
It's a nice shirt, isn't it? It's nice and clean and simple. So you've got the Adidas logos kind of centralized. You've got the red shirt, white band,
white banner. Yeah, exactly. And it's got that kind of that faint kind of the lines going down as well. The kind of that 90s. Yeah. Exactly. And it's quite simple, but it does what it says on the tin kind of kit. Yeah,
mate. It's really nice. So coming off the back of a 4-0 loss, we've got a Turkish shirt for our second shirt that you've picked.
Mate, indeed.
This is a bit more successful, this shirt. So
this is
the 2002 World Cup home by Adidas. This is red as well. But it's the home.
So they switched it.
Yeah, they switched it. They switched it by now. Do you know what? Should we describe it before we go into it? So this one, it's Adidas. It follows that Euro 2000 template. So you've got the kind of mesh paneling upside. It's blood red. You've got a huge kind of Turkey flag on the chest as well. It's a really nice shirt, 100%. I think.
Yeah, exactly. Quite simple. Again, quite simple. Quite simple design. 3 stripes, the emblem, and boom, red.
So, mate, what are your memories with this one then? This is pretty special.
This one now. Now I'm a bit older now, so it's 2002. I'm working at Gap in Bromley. Yeah, this is my part-time job. Last year at uni, had the headpiece on. This is it was I think it was sort of it's June. It was summertime. And we hadn't been in the World Cup. Turkey hadn't been in the World Cup. I think it was 48 years they hadn't been in the World Cup.
Yep.
And this is the first time. So it's quite a lot of pressures on. And then the biggest singer in Turkey, Tarkan, he's basically the Turkish George Michael. He's that big. He's massive. He recorded a song for it, which was almost like a war cry. And it was on the TV, Turkish TV everywhere. Everyone was into it. So I'm younger now. I'm driving him a Vauxhall Vectra, blaring out the song.
And a Vectra, bloody hell. Posh.
Vectra, mate, yeah. Green, lovely green.
Nice.
1.8, mate.
Ooh.
Automatic.
What's on that?
I can't even remember, mate. It was like a family friend kind of car, if you know what I mean. So ask no questions, tell no lies. But we came out of the gates with this one, and this was we played Brazil in the first game. The opening game was against Brazil, and I think we only lost 1-0.
2-1, I think it was.
Or was it 2-1? Maybe it was the second time we lost 1-0 because we played them twice.
You did. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, what are the odds? But so the first game, I remember a friend of a friend had a shop in Sydenham, and it was one of those paraphernalia shops that sold smoking accessories for certain things. But in the back, he had this whole lounge area.
Right.
It was probably just a smoking den for him and his mates. But we went there, and it was about 30 of us crammed into this little room, watching that match, cheering, wearing the shirt. I had the shirt as well.
Nice.
We were all cheering, all that sort of stuff. And then every game, I made an effort. We was meeting up with friends. It was always kind of watching this. Every game we followed, whether it was, I think it was early in the morning, some of the matches.
Yeah, it's in Japan and Korea, wasn't it?
8 a.m. Yeah, so it depended on the time zone. And then one of the Senegal game, I remember I was working at Gap, and I managed to negotiate an extra long lunch break. And I was like, look, it might go into golden goal. It might go, the 30 minutes extra time. I guess, so if it does, I'll just work the extra time when I come back. And they were like, yeah, fine, cool. So literally got on my break, changed into my turkey top, running up Bromley High Street to the walkabout.
Yeah, to the walkabout.
To meet my walkabout, mate. Yeah, classy, mate. Classy establishment.
Yeah.
So meet my brother and a mate and watch the match. And watching that match, and I remember just watching that, and it got to full time, and then you got the gold. Munster's got the golden goal,
right?
And it just erupted. And I just remember cheering, everyone was going mental, and then having to go back and sell some Gap jumpers for the rest of the day. But it was a fun experience.
That was the quarterfinals, right, against Senegal.
That was, yeah. The quarterfinals of Senegal, yeah, that was it. And then semis was
you got Brazil again.
Again, what are the odds?
Yeah,
Brazil.
But
Mate,
to get that far, that's like you say, first World Cup since, what was it, 54, I think. So
yeah, exactly.
It's incredible. Mental. And that team as well. You look at the players in that team, unbelievable.
Yeah, you had Hakan Şükür, who got the fastest goal in the history of the World Cup. I remember watching that. It was 11 seconds.
Wow.
In the playoff for the third place against South Korea.
Yeah.
It literally, I remember that it kicked off and I hadn't even sat down yet. And it was like, goal. And I was like,
Wow.
what? It's
Wow.
mental. It's mental.
And it was like, so obviously South Korea were like the host nation as well. And they were
They were
like,
indeed.
they knocked out Italy as well, I think. And they were like,
I think they were like an
Ireland
underdog as well they were the underdog as well that kind of came through. So it was almost like underdog versus underdog.
But
And
like, they stopped their league, didn't they, or something? So like Gus Hiddink could train their players like for ages before the World Cup. So they turned up like.
I do remember that. Yeah, I remember something like that. Actually, saying that now.
Yeah,
mate, interesting facts.
So you beat them in third place playoffs. So Turkey came third in the World Cup in 2000.
Third in the World Cup, like first time in 48 years they'd been in it, and they came third. And like I mean, they were hailed as national heroes. That those players, literally were everything. And although I read about Hakan Şükür late, I don't know if you saw. There's an article last year about him.
Right.
He's now in the US, and apparently he's like a cafe owner and a cab driver.
Really?
Well, because of obviously his political views were not in tune with the current political regime. I think his assets have all been frozen, and he's now in the US. And I was like, wow. Well, I mean, he was an icon. Like he was both in that '92 match that I watched, and in the World Cup 2002.
Was he really? Okay, wow. Oh, wow.
So well, it says that he's also got a few businesses, so I'm sure he's doing all right. But
maybe it's tax purposes. He's only a cab driver.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Ask no questions. Done a 50 cent, isn't he? He's done a 50 cent.
So, mate, what was it like being like a Turkish person in London after that victory?
I mean, it was amazing. I mean, like I remember like after one of the games driving up to Green Lanes, because obviously there's a massive community up there.
Up near me, mate. Just up near me.
Yeah, there you go, mate. Up your ends, mate. You wait till the next time we're playing and we win, and I'll pick up there. I'll give you a call. But like, I remember like getting up there, and it was the same with the 2008 qualifiers. We went up to Green Lanes. Like that was the place to go when there was a big win, and it was just people everywhere, just with flags, banners, fireworks, just jumping on bus stops. Like you could not drive up and down the street. Obviously, then you go in the kebab shop, everyone's eating, but it was just everyone was just partying. It was just a party. And there was a place in Sydenham that we used to watch. Again, Sydenham actually. It's a bit of a coincidence. I'm at Sydenham again for the 2008 qualifiers, but there's a pub like in Lower Sydenham that we used to go to, and when we won, I think it was one of the qualifying games, everyone just spilled out into the streets with flags, and there was a whole kind of like community coming together as well. And it was that kind of camaraderie like I talked about before, but everyone coming together and cheering for it. And it was just like that sense of like, this is for the peoples, you know what I mean? This is our people.
Yeah. Mate, these are the things that you remember forever. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd take not
exactly
10 World Cups if you could finish third and have a story like that, you know? Exactly.
And that's it. And I'd say like, I'm rubbish with like stats and remembering who scored what goal and what happened in this game. And but again, like I said, like it's all about the memories that I take away from that, and the kind of that sticks with me, and that I can recite as if it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And those are what kind of carry me through. And that's why when I look at that shirt, that's what I'm reminded of. Nice. That experience.
Nice. So, mate, let's move on to your third and final shirt. So,
third and final shirt. I thought I couldn't go Turkey for the third one.
Well, you can do what you want, mate. But you've picked the West Ham 2015-2016 home shirt by Umbro. It's the farewell to the Boleyn Ground.
Farewell to the Boleyn Ground, mate. That was, again, that one is a big one because obviously that year, obviously it was the last year at the Boleyn Ground. Obviously it was a big year, and we obviously played amazingly well. We come seventh that season. And, we had the likes of Dimitri Payet, that wonder season for him. And it was just like a big season. And for me, like, that was the year I had my son.
Right.
And so it was like, right, I need to get him the kit. So I got him the kit as well. And unfortunately, because I just had him and he was a baby, and even my little girl was little, I couldn't get out to see as many games as I wanted to. So I managed to get to the Mark Noble testimonial match. That was my last trip to the Boleyn, which I think was like March of that year. Right. But 2015, I signed up for the season ticket for the new stadium.
Right.
So I think, anyway, that shirt, it represents a season that was amazing.
Yep.
And also the promise that now we're kicking on. Now we're pushing on to the next level. Yeah. Right, like we've all seen the Mark Noble speech at the end of the last game where he's like, we're ready to go to the next level, and all the memes that have been made about it and the comedy videos, just like how it fell flat. It fell flat afterwards, but there was this kind of almost like the hype, and obviously the expectation. It was like, this was good. This is it now. This is like now I'm getting a season ticket as well because of bigger stadium. I'm 15 minutes on a train now to the stadium as well, which is even better.
Nice.
So I can make it. I can take my kids to it because I managed to get 3 season tickets. Me, my brother, and my father-in-law all next to each other. And the idea being that we can swap it, take our kids and whatnot. And it was like, so in the lead up, that kit just symbolized this kind of like this hype that was coming and obviously performing amazingly well that season. It was that good time. Obviously, the following season was a different story, but we'll just stick to that season for now. And it so that was that.
Where does that West Ham thing come from? So you grew up in South London, right?
I did indeed. So it's quite weird. I asked my mum all the time. So my uncle and my mum, they came over in the 60s from Cyprus, and West Ham was a team that my uncle chose. So by default, my mum was a West Ham fan because her older brother was. And she'd tell me that, you know, she remembers like listening to the radio to find out the score, to know what mood my uncle would be in when he gets home and all that sort of stuff. But my uncle, he's not like a hooligan. He's actually a primary school teacher. Do you know what I mean? He actually, well, I don't know, actually. You know, I should actually call him up and ask him, what's your bit of a, you know, what did you get into a bit? Yeah, exactly. Got a good collection of Stanley knives. But he actually was Rio Ferdinand's primary school teacher, and Anton. Oh, wow. Yeah, he's back when he's mentioned in the book as well, apparently. But he used to drive them up to practice and stuff like that. So I used to get tickets from them and stuff like that. But then, you know, my uncle was the one that would like take us all to the stadium. We'd all go together, like as a family, like day out. And I remember like waiting outside the stadium, I got a picture of me, my brother, and Julian Dix. Got a picture with Bilic. It was that kind of era. So my uncle was the one that was kind of got it. He's the one that kind of set the scene, and it kind of filtered down to the rest of the family. Yeah. And that's how West Ham kind of became the family team.
So do your kids enjoy it when you take them down there?
So weird. So when I had my boy, and I was like, right, I've got a season ticket now. You know, like as every dad with a boy, it's like, right, I'm going to make him a West Ham fan. This is it. This is it now, son. You're going to be West Ham no matter what. My wife's an Arsenal fan. She's like, no, he's Arsenal. And I'm like, no, he's West Ham. And we'll let him decide. He's the one, he just does not care. He's just, I mean, he's a boy. He doesn't sit for longer than 10 minutes. He's not, depending on who you're talking to, he will say to me that he's a West Ham fan. But then he'll say to my wife that he's an Arsenal fan.
Right.
But living in Essex is a good thing because I think a lot of his mates are West Ham. So I'm hoping that it will, however, exactly. However, my daughter, at the age of 3, I took her to her first West Ham game. It was her birthday. We were playing Liverpool in the new stadium. Yeah. We lost 4-1. I mean, it was again, this is the bad times now. I remember like I took her and I was like, right, I pack her like a tablet. I'll pack loads of snacks, colouring book, because she's not going to be interested. Yeah. And the whole game, she sat there asking me questions like, what does that man do? What's this do? What's that? What's this? She was really into it. And it just shocked me. I was like, wow, she's really into it. She's like, yeah, I'm West Ham. And then I managed to get the commentators to announce her birthday at halftime. And for that, and I think that has now probably put a memory in her mind of West Ham. And she talks about it even now. She's 8 years old. She still talks about it. That's really and she sits with me every match, watches it, asks me questions. Yeah. And she's the one that I thought she's very like girly as well, very princesses and playing with her dolls. I thought she's never going to want to play football or and she's the one that's actually more into football than her brother. She loves sitting with me. And again, I think it's that she's making those memories of watching it with her dad.
Yeah. Mate, that's
and that just it's an amazing feeling, like,
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about bonds of families and things. It's just like a tangible thing that you can have together. It's really important.
Exactly. It's like, right, Saturday, 3:00, sit on the couch and we'll just put it on. And my little boy just runs up and down, does whatever, sits down for 5 minutes, gets up. But then when he was born, I made an active thing to buy them the kit every season. So as they grow up, they'll have all the West Ham kits for every season.
Nice, mate. Nice.
So,
get them collected.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Get them into it early, mate.
Lovely
so give
stuff.
It 20 years. I'll have 2 guests for you.
Yeah, I was going to say. Nice, mate. Nice. Well, so some nice stories and some nice picks as well. What I was going to say, mate, is like, what's next for you? Where should people looking for your content? Yeah,
so you can find me on all social media platforms. On Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, just search ERAYBEYI. Look me up. Hopefully you find something fun and interesting and I can make you laugh. And that's all I want to do. Please do. I need the followers. And then also, I do a podcast with my mate, a movie podcast. If you're into the movies, called Sultans of Charisma. We're available in the App Store, Spotify. I think we're on Amazon as well. Yeah. Currently trying to get on all the different platforms at the moment. So, nice,
Nice.
And
Well, look, I'll put links in the thing, mate, but it's really good to speak to you. Thanks.
Bless you. Mate, been amazing. Thank you so much.
So there you have it. Massive thanks to Eray for sharing his football kit memories with me. You can follow me, my own collection, on Instagram, or get in touch via Twitter or email. We mentioned a lot of the great work Eray does on social too. I've linked everything out in the podcast notes. Do give him a follow. And other than that, I guess that's it. Thanks for listening, and until next time, I'll see you later.